You're inside a thick shelled egg in a nest on a rocky cliff. I suggest doing some push-up exercises during this time because, honestly, things are going to get worse. After 45 days, you hatch. But no one pays you any attention because your parents are currently in a serious discussion about whose turn it is to fetch food for the nest. You're now just a ball of downy feathers with big eyes and an open appetite. After a bit of bargaining, we discover that it's the father's turn to bring food today. Tenderly offers you soft, semi-digested meat after chewing it. Don't worry, you'll get used to this gross stuff. You start observing your parents, learning from their movements and hunting techniques. Oh, you have a sibling, a nestmate who hatched shortly after you. The best part's that you both have to fight over every meal your parents bring you. They're gonna watch the whole thing go down like it's some primetime entertainment. And the fight goes on until one of... Oh. After winning this feathered fight, you and your parents might just celebrate by... What a wonderful family. A month passes and you grow quickly. Your downy feathers are replaced by sleek, dark feathers that give you the distinctive look of a black eagle. At around 90 days, you're almost fully grown. Oh, wait. There may still be something you haven't learned yet. Yeah, it's time to take a few flying lessons. You stand at the edge of the nest, looking down at the dizzying drop below. Your parents are circling nearby, probably placing bets on whether you'll soar or splat. Pretty sure they'd be happy with either outcome because they'd no longer have to feed you as much. You spread your wings, close your eyes, and jump. For a heart-stopping moment, you're falling. And then your instincts kick in. Your wings catch the air. Maybe we should have moved that tree a bit. You try again, and you fall. Again. After a series of attempts, you start mastering flying well. You learn to read wind currents and use them to soar higher with less effort. You practice diving and rolling. With each successful flight, you become stronger and more confident. You start to take more interest in the world beyond the nest. Your eyesight, already incredible by human standards, is now sharp enough to spot a rabbit from a kilometer away. I mean, you literally have built-in binoculars, but better. From a high perch, you watch as your parents scan the landscape below, their sharp eyes spotting the slightest movement. When they see something worth pursuing, they lock their gaze on it, their bodies tensing in anticipation. Then, with a sudden burst of speed, they dive, folding their wings close to their bodies and plummeting towards the ground like a missile. Looks like your premium subscription's expired. Now you'll have to get food yourself and do exactly what your dad just did. Oh, it's a wild rabbit. You focus on it, just like you saw your parents do, and launch yourself into a dive. The wind roars in your ears as you pick up speed. Maybe we should have moved that rock a bit. Try again. As the days go by, you get better. You learn to predict your prey's movement, adjust your dive midair, and use the element of surprise to your advantage. The taste of fresh meat caught with your own talons is unlike anything you've ever had before. Around this time, your parents start to get a bit distant. They're not kicking you out exactly, but they're definitely hinting that it might be time for you to move out. So at around 14 to 15 months, you finally take the hint. It's time to leave the nest and strike out on your own. Your eagle gap year, your chance to see the world. Or at least a different part of the savannah. You spend your days soaring over the savannah, scanning for prey in suitable territory. It's like house hunting, but instead of checking out the local schools and property values, you're looking for good hunting grounds and defensible nesting sites. And just like in the human world, all the best spots are already taken. They aren't too thrilled about a young upstart moving into the neighborhood. These encounters often end with you being chased off, your pride slightly bruised, but honestly, if I were you, I would beat the crap out of them. Nice try. But it's not all territory disputes and near misses with hungry lions. There are moments of pure joy, too. The feeling of riding a thermal, spiraling higher and higher until the world below looks like a patchwork quilt. Some animals on the ground suddenly find themselves flying through the sky without any prior warning, enjoying a breathtaking view beneath them, before you eat them. How generous of you. You've mastered the art of the hunt, taking down prey with a precision that would make your parents proud, if they weren't too busy enjoying their empty nest to notice. Then, around your 4th or 5th year, something changes. Spring rolls around, and suddenly you're seeing your fellow black eagles in a whole new light. It's mating season, and you're feeling the urge to pair up and start a family of your own. Finding a mate isn't as simple as tossing out pickup lines. It's a complex dance of aerial displays and gift-giving because nothing says I love you like a freshly caught Hyrax. I guess it wasn't fresh enough. After a few false starts and awkward encounters, you realize that not every eagle appreciates being dive-bombed with a dead rabbit, but eventually you find your perfect match. Together, you set about building a nest, and by building, I mean stealing someone else's and adding a few twigs for good measure. Your first breeding season is a learning experience, to say the least. You and your mate take turns incubating the eggs, spelling each other for hunting breaks. It's like the world's longest, most boring work shift, punctuated by moments of sheer panic every time the egg rolls slightly. Finally, after about 45 days, your first child hatches. As you look down at this tiny, fuzzy creature, you're filled with a mix of emotions. Sure enough, a few days later, the second egg hatches, and that means getting to enjoy some entertaining fights every day. Or maybe it'll all be over on the first day. You settle into your role as a parent, hunting tirelessly to feed your growing kid. You'll soar over the savannah countless times, your keen eyes always on the lookout for the next meal, the next challenge. As you settle into the rhythm of parenting, you quickly realize that life as a black eagle parent is more of a marathon than a sprint. Every day you soar over the savannah, scanning the landscape for prey. Your keen eyes catch every twitch of movement, a scurrying rodent here, a nervous antelope there. Oh, the good old hyrax, always a favorite, and a perfect gift for your demanding little child. You barely have time for yourself. Your once leisurely fights now feel like frantic food runs for a never-ending buffet of tiny feathered mouths to feed. And let's be honest, your child, as adorable as it may be, has an appetite like it's training for the Eagle Olympics. Other eagles swoop in, trying to muscle in on your hard-earned territory, and it's up to you to defend it. Every day is a test of your strength, your speed, and your determination. You're in constant aerial duels, and just when you think you've finally gotten the hang of this parenting gig, something goes wrong. Maybe you forgot to shield the nest properly during a sudden downpour, and you return to find your kid soggy and looking at you like, really? This is the best you've got? But where's the mother? Well, she's off getting some fresh food. Then, one day, your child grows up. You send him with tears to find himself and grow into a responsible eagle adult as you enjoy retirement. You've learned to adapt, relying more on cunning and strategy than brute strength. You might not be able to chase down every intruder with the same ferocity, but you've mastered the art of intimidation. Why waste energy on a fight when you can win with a well-timed glare or a threatening swoop? It's like trading in your boxing gloves for a black belt in psychological warfare. Despite your age, the jungle doesn't cut you any slack. Younger eagles, full of ambition and strength, start eyeing your territory with the hunger you once knew all too well. But your piercing gaze used to be enough to scare them off. Oh, maybe not anymore.